So, good morning, friends. Today we'll see what is the meaning of sampling, what is its importance, and different methods for sampling. So, all of you are aware when we conduct the research, we cannot take the readings or interviews of the all the population. Okay, suppose I want to know the buying trends of the person from the Maharashtra. So I'm gonna take interview or survey of each and every person from the Maharashtra. But I need to take few people from the Maharashtra, take their interviews, survey, and then make the research. Okay. So that is we are interested in. So that is called as sampling. So we not deal with the population, but we only deal with the few of the population. That is called as what? Sample. So sampling. So what is the sampling is? So sampling is the selection of some part of aggregate, or we can say population, on the basis of which inference about the aggregate is made. Okay, inference about the population can be made. So why we select, what is the sampling is, what we select uh, some part of that aggregate. Okay, suppose uh, there is a intake of mango to the company making the pulp of mango. So what we do, we randomly take the sample. Okay, not all. Suppose there come 1 lakh mangoes to the company. We take maybe 100 samples from that for testing purpose. Okay, when we take taste of that 100 samples, so whatever conclusion we take based on taste on that 100, it is applicable to what? All the population. Okay, so that is called as sampling. So sampling is selection of some part of aggregate or population, and then we test that some part, and then make the conclusion about the whole. Okay, or about the aggregate. Okay, so sampling is nothing but process of obtaining information about entire population. So it is a process of obtaining what information about the entire population, but we don't examine entire population, but only the part of that population. That is called as what? Sampling. So researcher quite often selects only the few atoms. Okay, so research is not selecting all population, but few atoms from the universe for his study purpose. Okay, so when we take the sample, we have to be very careful so that it will real representation of the population. Okay, so it is done on the assumption that sample data will enable to estimate the population parameter. Please understand. Okay, we say in Marathi, Sitavarun Bhatachi Pariksha. Okay, so we test the few samples from the population and then tell the about the population. So what is the behavior of the population? So that is called as what? Sampling. Okay, now we'll move further. So as I mentioned, whatever sample I test, it will be give the characteristic of population. So while selecting, you need to be careful that it should give the true representation of your population. Okay, without any bias. Okay, so that whatever we conclude based on the sample, same should be applicable to the whole, that is the population. Okay, so that our results are valid and reliable. Okay, so whatever results or conclusion we get should be reliable, okay, valid and reliable. Okay, so when we conduct a research, when we conduct the research about a group of people, it is rarely possible to collect the data from every person in that group. Okay, so it is difficult. Your population is too big. Just I give the example of people from Maharashtra. It is a few crores, okay, population. So it is not possible to collect the data from each and every person. Instead, what we do, we select the sample, and the sample is a group of individuals, so they will participate in our research. Okay, please understand whether it is the people, whether it is a material. Just I give the example of mango. So we cannot taste each and every mango coming to the company, but we can taste few of them. And from tasting that few samples, we have to conclude about the characteristic of rest of population. Okay. So sample, when we select the sample, it should be true representation of population. Okay. There should not be any bias. Okay. So you're not to do like mangoes are there and you pick good mangoes or we pick bad mangoes. So you should not be biased. You should select randomly. If you select the samples randomly, what will happen? It will give you the true representation of your population. Okay. So please understand, in research, it is very important. Sampling is very important. Okay. When we study about the population, but there is a limitation that for population, we cannot conduct the study. Like I told the example of Maharashtra, people from the Maharashtra. I cannot conduct the study for each and every person of Maharashtra, but I can take sample from that and I can study, I can survey, I can interview that people and conduct the research. And whatever research I get, conclusions, I will apply to the people of Maharashtra. Okay, but while selecting the samples, I need to be very, very careful because you should give a real representation of the people of Maharashtra. Okay, you should give the real or true presentation of people of Maharashtra. Okay, so I'll just move to the next slide. Okay, again in simple graphical way, I have represented. Okay, this is the population, large number of persons in that. Okay, but I cannot deal with them. I cannot deal. There are two reasons: time constraint. Okay, because if you want to deal with each and every person from the Maharashtra, it will take huge time. And when I publish the research, that will not be relevant because it will taking so much time. And these samples. From that, I selected few people for my research. Okay, so population is entire group about which we need to draw few conclusions about their behavior. And sample is what? Specific group of individuals which are from which we collect the data. Okay, is a group of individuals or a group of items, you can say, from which we collect the information. Okay, it can be individuals or it can be any item. Okay, from which we collect the data, we conduct the research. Okay, so that is the sample. So in a simple diagram I have shown the population and sample. Now we'll see the types of sampling. So there are two types of sampling: probability means random sampling and non-random sampling. Okay, there is random sampling and non-random sampling. So we'll see the random sampling, that is the types of probability sampling. So as I mentioned, probability sampling means random sampling. So we have to randomly select. So we'll see simple random sampling. So in the simple random sampling, we randomly select any sample from the whole population. Okay, and sampling frame is the whole population. From the whole population, we select the sample. To conduct this type of sampling, so we use one computer tool called as random number generator. So in the software we can generate, we can also generate in the Excel random number, and that random number you can choose for selection. Okay, that random number you can choose for the selection. Okay, so we need to use the random number generator. It is maybe in Excel, or we can also use the online computer program. Okay, so I will give you here one example of simple random sampling. Suppose there are 1,000 diabetic patients and I need to randomly select. Okay, so what I will do, I will assign the patient number from 1 to 1,000 and use the random number generator to select a number from 1 to 1,000. Okay, but I will only select the 100. Okay, I will generate the random number, still I get the 100 patient out of the 1,000. Okay. That is called a simple random sampling. Okay, I'll move to the next sampling. This is a probability sampling or random sampling, you can say. That is a systematic sampling. So in a systematic sampling, it is similar to the simple random sampling, but here it is slight difference is there. So what we do, we first select any random sample, and from that we repeat the pattern. Okay, like here I have given one example. So there are company employees which are listed in alphabetical order. Okay, so what we do, from the first 10 numbers, we select one random number, suppose 6. From the 6, what we do systematic way. Systematic means where every 10th member, what we do, every 10th member we select. Okay, we have selected 6, so after 6 is what? 16, 16, then 26, 36, like this. So that is called a systematic. Okay, first member is random, and after that we go systematic. Okay, till the end of the population. So that is called as what? Systematic sampling. Okay, in the random sampling, what we did, randomly generated the number with the help of software. Okay, so you can go to the Google and say random number generator, so that will help you. That will also ask the range from which to which number you want to generate the random number. So you generate a random numbers, and in the list also you give the numbering to your participants. Okay, and using that random number generator, you can pick that. Okay. Here also in systematic sampling, the first member or first item we have to select randomly. Okay. So we decided that 1/10 we will select as a sample. So from first 10, you generate 1 to 10, you generate the number, random number. Once that random number is generated, you go on adding something to that. Okay, maybe we decided to add 10 based on what size of the sample you need. You can decide that number to be added. Okay, so we selected first random number 6. Then we decided to add every to that number 10. Okay, so it becomes systematic. Okay. Now we'll move to the next sampling. Next sampling is stratified sampling. So in stratified sampling, what we do, we divide the population into the subgroups. Okay, and they have a difference in important ways. Okay, so it allows you to draw more precise conclusions by ensuring that every subgroup is properly represented in the sample. Okay, so strata, it is stratified sampling means what? Strata means layers. Okay, so what we do, we make the groups, okay, based on similarity characteristics, like take the example gender identity, age group, income group, job role, like this. Okay, and then we select. Okay, so we make the group based on the strata or layer. We can say strata is a layer, like gender, age, income, job role. We make the groups. Okay, once we make the group, then comes the time for selecting. Okay, so while selecting, we take care that each group will have the representation in the sample. Okay, so we'll take the example for stratified sampling. Suppose there is a company and there are about 1,000 employees. Out of that, there are 800 are female employees, 200 are male employees. So we made the two groups here, male and female. Okay. So after making the group, we came to know that there are 800 females and there are 200 male. Okay. So we made the group. Now we have to select the sample. Okay. So when we select the sample, it should be in the same proportion to get the clear idea. So we decided, so proportion, if you see the proportion, it is 800 to 200. So it is about 80 is to 20%. Okay. So in the same percentage, we need to draw the sample. So from the first strata, what is first strata? Female. We decided to take total 100 samples. So I will take 80% of 100. That is 80% of 800 is 80. From the male strata, I will take 20% of that. Okay, so I got 20. Okay, 100 into the 20% is 20. So this is our sample. So sample will constitute now the representation from each data, like 80 female and 20 male. Okay, so we made the layers. Oh, we can made the, so we can say we made the layers, and from each layer we selected the sample group based on each group strata. We said the strata. Okay, group. From each group we selected the representative. Okay, so we wanted to select 100 samples, so we distributed in the same proportion, like here 80% females and 20% male. So same proportion we selected. Okay, from each strata. So here there were only two stratas group, so we selected from the two groups. Now next comes first, please understand about strata. We did the same way. Okay, we decided to select, like here 80% women and 20% men, and we selected in random way. Please understand, because it is a probability sampling. Okay, we are not selected that. We did it randomly. Okay, so we decided to have 80% from the female category and from male category 20%, but we selected that randomly. Okay. Now comes cluster. So what we did, we formed the groups here. Okay, but groups are in a form in a such way that they are a representation of, or we can say, population. Okay, so instead of sampling from each individual, from each subgroup, we randomly select the entire subgroup. So what we make compose the group. Okay, we make the groups, but groups are made in such way that it will be the have each group will have the composition similar to the population. Okay, each group will have the composition similar to the population. Like if you take the previous example, 80% female, 20% male, like this. 80% female, 20% male. Like this, we form the groups. Okay, we form the groups, and we then randomly we select the any group. Okay, any group or the more than one group we select. Okay, so that is called as was cluster sampling. Okay, so here I have given one example that there is a company, XYZ company, and this company is having the offices across the 12 cities. Okay, and each city in the composition is same. What I give the example. Okay, so there are 12 groups, you can say. Okay, each group is having the same composition. So it is a cluster sampling. Now what happens as the company is located in 12 cities, you cannot go to the each and every city. So we randomly select from these 12 cities some 3 samples, 3 offices, and we study the employees of that particular company. So that is called as cluster sampling. So instead of making the mix, okay, instead of we can make like in clusters strata, what we did, selected from each group the same proportion, but here the group itself is containing the mix in a such way that it is a representative of population. So instead of selecting from each group, we directly select the group. Okay, we directly select the group. That is the call as cluster sampling. Okay, lecture sampling. Okay. Now, please go to the non-probability sample. In the non-probability sample, so individuals are selected based on non-random criteria. So they are not selected here. Samples are not selected randomly, but they are selected based on the some criteria. Okay. So non probability or okay, so non-random, we can say sampling. It is easy, cheaper, but it can give rise to the bias. As I mentioned already, that in the research there should not be any bias. Okay, like I give the example, like the mango coming to the company, you should not purposefully select the good mangoes or purposefully select the bad mangoes, but you have to randomly select the mangoes.
Without bias.
But yes,
Without bias. Yeah.
without biases. But in non-probability sampling, so we don't select randomly. Maybe because of some issues, we are not able to do that. Okay. So if you see this non-random or non-probability sampling, the inference we draw about the population are weaker than the probability because there are chances of bias here, and conclusions we draw will be more limited. So we have used this non-probability sampling technique. It is used in the exploratory research, or we can say qualitative research. It is used. Okay, non-probability sampling is used in the exploratory research. We know that exploratory research is just shallow research. Okay, to just start with. Okay, and it is also used in the qualitative research. Now we'll see the types of non-random sampling or non-probability sampling. So first come convenience sampling. So in the convenience sampling, simply include the individuals which are more accessible to researcher, because this is easy and inexpensive way to gather the initial data, but there is no way to tell if the sample is representative of the population, so it cannot produce the generalized result. Please understand, many things we just do based on the convenience. Okay, so not every time you can reach to the every person or every item. So we see the convenience. Like suppose I give here example, we want to study the student support system. So it is expected to take the feedback from the student. But it is very obvious, it is very convenient for you to take the feedback of each and every class in the college. But you simply take the feedback from the class you are teaching because it is convenient for you. Okay. But what is expected to you take the randomly the any class from your institute. But it will always convenient for you to take the feedback from the class you are teaching. So that is a convenience sampling. Okay. People always try to go more convenient. Okay. But it may not be true representation. Okay. So this is the diagram. You can see here it is more easily accessible. This person is easily accessible, so you will involve this person, this person, this person. This is far away. Okay, this the distance here is indicating that you cannot easily meet that person. Okay, the person you can easily meet, you will take the feedback from that. Okay, the person is far away, it will be difficult for you to arrange, meet first, arrange the things. It will take time. Okay, time and the energy. So this is a convenience sampling where we can easily approach the respondent.
Mm.
Now comes purposive sampling. This is also called as judgment sampling. The researcher here uses his expertise, his or her expertise, to select the sample that is more useful to the purpose of the research. So the researcher uses his experience, judgment to select the sample. So, okay. So suppose example, I will say you want to know more about the opinions and experiences of the disabled student in your university. So you purposefully select the number of the student with different support needs in order to gather the varied information. Okay. uh, to get the range of the data on their experiences with the student services that you get in the university. So in judgmental, so it is a purposive sampling, and you use your judgment, we can say, expertise to select the participant. Okay, so that is called as purposive sampling.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes,
Is this really applied anywhere in any social science or any particular sector of a research?
yes, these are the methods of sampling they use. Okay.
Okay.
Purposive sampling is for we know that this can be the best sample like this with purpose. Okay. So he or she uses his judgment. Okay. So which participant can give better answers or better responses? Okay.
Okay.
So this is the, you can say, so here he or she is selecting the participant. So whether it is far away, that doesn't matter, but it should be get selected by that person. Okay. Criteria is the selection. His judgment, his or her judgment about that participant. Okay. So these are what I'm discussing. These are the different sampling methods. Okay. So we are now seeing the types of we can say non-random or non-probability sampling. Then comes snowball sampling. What happens when we want to conduct the research? We may not be in direct contact with the participants. Okay, sometimes population is hard to access. So snowball sampling can be used to recruit the participants, okay, via other participants. Okay, so this method is called as snowball sampling. Here, what we do, we recruit, we select the participant through other participant. Okay, so we recruit the participant and then they sub-recruit the participants. Like this, there is a, you can say, chain. Okay, so number of people you have access to the snowball. Okay, as you get in contact with the more people, so that is called as snowball. So what is the mediator, we can say, that is called as snowball. Okay, so you can see the diagram. I'll show you the diagram. You can see the diagram here. So we go through the, we recruit snowball here,
Mm.
and snowball will recruit participant further. Okay, so we go through the snowball. Okay, so there can be chances that whether the feedback taken is proper or not, that we have to see. Okay, because it is to some mediator. Okay, because you cannot approach each and every participant. So I will give the example so that you can get the idea about it. So you are searching the experiences of homelessness in your city. Please understand, as we are living in proper society and we don't have the access to the person who is a homeless. Okay, it is very little difficult. Okay, to find such a participants. Okay, so don't have the list of homeless people. So what we do, we meet one person who agrees to participate in the research, and she puts you in contact with the other homeless. Okay, so we first contact one person who is also homeless, and then that person will also guide us. Will also give the contact of the other persons which are homeless. Okay, so it is just like a chain, because we cannot directly approach the participant because we have limited data for this. Okay, so this is called as snowball sampling. This we can picture I have already shown.
Yeah.
Then we'll go for quota sampling. So this is also the non-random or non-probability sampling. So here we select a predetermined number or proportion of unit. This is called as quota sampling. So what we do, we first divide the population into the subgroups, like similar to earlier data,
Correct.
and then recruit the sample unit until you reach to your quota. Okay. This unit share the specific characteristics determined by you prior to forming your status. So as per the quota, we select the items from that particular strata. So aim of this quota sampling is to control what or who makes you of the sample. Okay, so we'll just see the example, then you will realize the quota sampling. So suppose you want to gauge consumer interest in the